Hi, this is Trevor Cutmore. Thank you so much for coming on to see this video. I'm doing a series of interviews with great professional people who've got great insights, and the whole point is to help you, property investors, overcome barriers and obstacles to help you complete that deal. Now, I've got a lot of experience, but if I'm just talking at a camera, it doesn't really work. So I love talking with people. I learn, they learn, and more importantly, you learn. So listen, if you like this video, please like it, make a comment, and if you can share it, that'd be fantastic. I wish you all the best.
Let's talk about property investing in 2019.
Perfect.
What's the outlook of property investing? Because there's a lot of, forgetting the tax changes. We've got tax changes, we've got Brexit.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of people thinking, well, it's all doom and gloom anyway. What's your take of property investing in 2019?
Look, it's great. I have my own mentors. I listen to history. I think history is secular. I always look at it. Warren Buffett had said a quote which echoes in my ears, and he said, "When people are greedy, be fearful. But when people are fearful, be greedy." Now the thing is, it's a fact. More millionaires are made in troubled times than they are in the good times, because there is more to be able to gather up, because the people are running. The fearful people are trying to unload. To
be fair, I do look at that with gone-off biscuits.
Yes.
When people are fearful because it's going to buy a sell-by date, that's where I go greedy, and I can eat all those biscuits.
Well, it's true. So look, I do see that, there has been a change. I moved out of London about 18 months ago because the market dropped in some areas 15 to 20% very quickly.
And still dropping, I think.
Yeah, and still dropping. Yeah, so I'm actually going to be co-hosting the Holborn Property Meet, so I've got my hand on what's going on. There's some went static, but obviously the market is all about the psychology of what's going on. Yeah, and we don't know. Yeah. That's a negative effect still. But up here around Lincoln and the like, we've been a very steady growth, around about 7% on, and we're still going. It's still quite
and
good.
I think just to bring that to Nottingham, because we are seeing growth as well, which is really interesting. But we're seeing about a growth about 5-6%. So
well,
quite sturdy when you get to London.
Our university is growing. We're going to have a direct line to London soon. Yeah. So all of this is, it's
and we talk about Lincoln here, folks. Yeah. I mean, we're not talking about the Mecca of Milton Keynes.
No, or Birmingham, Manchester. But a lot of people do that, But this is where I decided to come, and I know the area, local knowledge. Now, I'm very aggressive. I'm buying as much as I can. Now, my strategy is long term. Yeah. Okay. So if I pay something, let's say, I'll always get a discount, and 9 times out of 10, I'll always add value.
Sure.
And then I refinance.
Right.
So I will try and leave as little in as I can, sort of anywhere from 5 to 10,000 in. Yeah. But then I'm making normally somewhere between 30 and 45% return on the money I've got left in.
I know. Well, that's a key thing. Anyone listening into this is, I do hear this whole thing about refinance your properties, take as much money out, but the danger is that people are doing that on single let properties and on big houses, and then make no return, or even worst case I'm seeing is that they're making a loss on those properties because they haven't really looked at the return on investment calculation after they refinanced it. Do you find that's a bit of a danger for people doing the refinance strategy?
Well, look, I've got quite a few HMOs, but I've got a passion for single lets. Okay. Purely because of where I'm going in the future. I'm building wealth now, so I can play my golf, travel the world, see my children, because they're all over the world. You see, so single lets for me is an easier path. As you know.
I agree.
Okay, and I don't have to go into explain why, but. So that is where I am. So I buy cheap. If I can buy 25-30% below market value, and then I put in and I do a nice refurb. So I put in Worcester boilers, the best boilers, because I don't want trouble.
Okay. From where?
LMPG. Tag it, and you'll see. So all of this is about for me to minimise how much money I've got in the property, maximise how much rent. And let me ask you a question, Simon. Yeah. In a few months' time, fees to tenants are going to be abolished. Yeah. So, but those fees are still liable, and who are they going to be paid by now? Landlords, you and me. Nice. So the thing is, you and me will not stand for that, thinking, especially with a multi-let, oh my goodness, another fee because another one's got another fee.
No,
so what happens? And a lot of people are calling this no fee to for tenants to be charged. It's called the tenants tax because only one's going to pay it, and it's them, and that's why rents are going to go up.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So we are going to see bigger margins.
Yeah.
So I'm not scared. I'm actively looking for more.
Sure.
I always look for stuff that I can add value to. That is my goal. I look for troublesome properties. Even down in London, I'm looking for stuff, short leases, Japanese knotweed,
right.
Disputes on leases and the like.
But let's talk about strategy as a whole.
Yes.
Because when we was in the kitchen and we was eating your fine cuisine, we mentioned about single lets is one strategy,
Yep.
HMOs was another. And to be fair, I started out with single lets. I moved to HMOs. I've now gone back to micropods, so I'm still doing single lets, but based on a HMO model, really. But they are self-contained units. I've kind of gone through that bit, but you mentioned that people are looking at rent to rent, but rent to service accommodation. Holiday lets is saturating the market. Surely this can't carry on, can it?
Well, look, I think legislation will have to look at this at some time. Obviously, service accommodation in London, you can only run it for 90 days.
Yeah.
So I think, legislation, again, they might look at that and start to extend that to other cities.
Yeah, Newham brought that in, actually. I remember them.
So I personally think, it's only my personal view, but I think we might see that start to roll out. But there's lots of people, and let's face it, Airbnb, it's a very good model.
Yeah.
You can make great money. As long as the permissions are there, so you're not breaching mortgage, you're not negating where the insurance is, because that's the danger, is that someone doesn't get the the mortgage permission, so therefore the insurance is invalidated and then someone dies.
Whole issue.
And who's to blame then? Is it the landlord who signed the contract? Is it you, the investor?
Well, put it this way, it's going to be a mess.
It is. So you've got to do things the right way. There's only one way to do it, and it's the right way. So look, in saturation, I think multi-lets, there was getting a saturation, but I think Article 4 was a great thing that came in, because it just went bang, stop. And so, my multi-lets all jumped up in value straight away on day one.
Amazing, isn't it?
It is.
Just talk about Section 24, and it's a bit like anything else. Listen, guys, anyone listening in, your glass can be that which is empty, or it can be half full, or it can be full.
Yeah.
And my approach to this is, Anthony Robbins has got a great saying, is how do you make a situation even better given the adversity that you're facing? And I think that's a great thing. So when Section 24 came in, I was instantly saying, I'm going to incorporate my property business. I'll buy future properties in a limited company, which we've done. And, you've got to look at the positives.
Yeah.
And the big thing for me was Section 24 is a great opportunity. People are crying. People are crying. I'm saying, but people are going to be selling up their properties. There's going to be less tenants. There's going to be more tenants for me. I'm excited. I don't know why.
No, I agree. But I think where people are missing a trick, and let's take service accommodation and what people already have in their own name.
Yep.
Because now they're looking at Section 24 and they think, oh my goodness, I'm going to pay all this tax. But hang on a minute. If you can change that, because you actually don't have to change planning class.
Yeah.
You just need to inform and get the proper
local
permission.
authority. Right?
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not difficult. But if you turn your property now into a service accommodation, you own it in your own name, then it's classed as a business.
Correct.
Therefore, you're outside of Clause 24.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so true. And
I'm not a tax advisor, but...
No. But it's interesting you should say that, because it's looking at the half glass.
It is.
And saying, well, let's make that glass full by changing your strategy. Because if you've got a single let property and Section 24 is going to be a killer for most people, especially those that bought these big old houses, especially in London, on a single let property, their mortgage up to the hilt, their mortgage, they may be making a loss even now.
Yes.
When Section 24 comes into play, the horrendous mess they will be in is going to be unfortunate. But you're right. If you could take it, ignoring the council thing, but if you could convert that property into a service accommodation, make more money than you ever did before, and have no tax, why wouldn't you do it?
Absolutely. But it's knowledge. It's about understanding, and sometimes, paying for knowledge. I've just actually written about an hour and a half presentation about the people around you. Okay, and part of that is because I really like it. I wrote it because of certain relationships I've got with people and how they see me and they talk to me and things, and historically other people. But one of the points is when you sit down with people, are you spending time or are you investing time? So this here today, we're investing. I'm learning from Simon, and I hope you're getting.
I'm learning a lot.
And there's an exchange, and our relationship becomes stronger, and that can lead to more business and more referrals, and that's great. Whereas in many times, when you're speaking to someone, they get a little bit of information. No, I don't want to do that, and do you know what? They don't want to pay for that. Consultancy.
Yeah.
So I get people like you. They want to ring you up. They want to know the crown jewels of you for nothing. I'm sorry. You need to pay for professional advice. I mean, let me ask you, how much have you had to pay for your knowledge and staying, credible? All the licenses, all the training and up and all that. How much do you pay?
You're gonna be front end of this. I invest on average per year a minimum of £4,000 per year on my training.
Right.
When I was on the training course for my property investing course, that was £15,000, but I took Louise as well.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's the other way around, but we went, and that was nearly 20,000.
Yeah.
We went on other courses as well because we were realizing that course only did certain elements, which was good.
Yes.
But you have to sharpen the saw, as Stephen Covey would say, and you need to do that elsewhere. Yeah. And therefore, I'm always continuously looking at my knowledge, my expertise to improve.
Absolutely, I agree.
You've got to spend it. I think that the thing is Zig Ziglar had a phrase. Zig Ziglar, for anyone listening in,
really
great sales guy.
Really great.
He said that people worry about the price of a service, but they're not worried about the cost of getting it wrong.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that, because what is the cost of getting it wrong? What howling stories have you got for people doing service accommodation and it's gone, trousers around the heels time?
Well, there's a lovely phrase that I'd like to start with, and it said, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. All right, or basically, the one, and that is, ignorance leads to so much trouble. Look, when I started, a friend of mine said, look, there's these properties in Cornwall, guaranteed buyback after 3 years, guaranteed rent for 3 years. It's a no-brainer. I was going to make £25,000. We both bought two. Right. It was a scam.
Okay.
Biggest con ever, but I didn't have education even to do the basic due diligence.
Right.
And I never even went to see them. How stupid and ignorant. And I consider myself a fairly, level-headed person.
Sure.
And I believed what I was seeing and everything. It all looked good, but I had no education. Now, to date, I've probably spent over 70,000 plus on my education.
Right.
And the thing is let's say again, people who ring you up. And they say, can you give, I've got this thing, can you give me this? You've invested all that money and people want to spend, they want you to spend your time and your knowledge for nothing. And that's just not right.
And sometimes emotion.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not right.
No.
So, look, there are people, let's take, in London, there are a number of letting agents in London where the directors of a group have said, absolutely no corporate lets whatsoever. Because what happens is someone goes on a one-day course.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of funds. They might not even have enough funds to do the first one, because in London, if you're doing, let's say, a rent to HMO, you need somewhere between £6,000 to £10,000 per unit. Okay, so they might have 5 and they borrowed a couple, but they haven't got enough to keep it going.
Yeah.
So they get a bad tenant, or it's trashed. They haven't got enough. Then they run away.
Yeah.
So there's a contract there, they run away, the agent gets egg on their face, the agent then has to go back to the landlord and say, oh my goodness, this happened. The landlord says, well, you put it right, you suggested it, then it's an expense there, and then the letting agent said, no way, they're not touching it.
And I guess the other side to that, Trevor, as well, is you may go to a networking event.
Yeah.
You've got someone who is we all know about confidence of being able to stand on stage and talk very well. And when you speak very well, people believe you.
Yes.
Even now,
Yes.
if we're speaking quite positively, you're going to believe us.
Yeah.
But the key thing is that that person not standing on stage, you've got to do your due diligence, because
Absolutely.
you could be saying, well, this guy's asking on stage for £50,000. I'll help you make lots of profit. But you're right, they don't know enough.
No.
What kind of mess can people get into?
Look, it's funny. When we look at con men, you see, I see a lot of people come to me and say, can you help me with getting confidence to stand up and speak? So people find it a problem to stand up at a pin meeting and say 20 seconds. I get it. I used to be like that. I used to shake and feel terrible.
Yeah.
But then you get someone with a silver tongue,
Yeah.
Now, a con man is not someone who shakes when they speak. They are expert in communication, expert in building trust and making that connection.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, what I say is, if you're looking to do any business with anyone, the first thing I do is Google, type their name in. It throws anything up. If there's nothing there, I'm worried. I am.
Yeah.
Because, are they real?
Yeah.
Or
indeed, if they're meant to be an expert, then surely there should be a presence on Google.
But you will see, some comments with it's negative, positive, and
course.
then you can make a judgment, and I think that's what you've got to do, because there are so many, scams out there. I have to say, there was a lady I know that she saw me come and speak, and she'd paid for some mentorship with me,
Right.
short-term membership, and she said, "Trevor, I've got some money. I want to invest with you." I said, "Yeah, fine."
Nice.
Over the weekend, on the Monday, she called me. She said, "I've sent that money to your account." I said,
Oh, really?
She sent tens of thousands of pounds into my account because she
Wow.
had my bank details. I said, "No,
Yeah.
you can't do that."
Right.
I had to quickly do it. So she trusted me that much. Now, fortunately, my integrity is
Which is
something-
nice, but frightening at the same time is how people can be so
think
free with their money.
Well, yeah, but think about money laundering. I've got where's it come from and all of that, and so I had to put that all in place before I could go forward.
Yeah.
So it's quite frightening, and you mustn't do it. So I don't want to receive money. It goes to the solicitor, and they do everything properly. I've had people come over from the Middle East and say, "Look, if I've got actually a suitcase of cash, guy from Dubai, can I invest with you?" I said, "No."
Yeah.
There's no way I touch it. But in this, you're never surprised with what you hear, are you?
So I think we talked about education, and funny enough, again, just backing on to the conversation we had in the kitchen there, there are some people that need the education.
Yes.
And I think you can go two ways with education. I think it can give you a sense of an awareness and appreciation of something you should and shouldn't do.
Yes.
But then there's some people that just need to go out there and do it once they've had that education. But the first group, the ones that need just the awareness, I don't think they should always be the ones that do. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Is you might be aware, there's another great phrase actually, to know but not to do is really not to know.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is a Stephen Covey phrase.
I see that a lot.
But equally, I do sometimes think that Henry Ford used to delegate an awful lot.
Yes.
Because he knew that he didn't know, or he was aware of what people did.
Yeah.
He was a millionaire because he hired in the best people to do the job.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I just think people need to kind of not worry about having to do the stuff themselves. Maybe not make a phone call to the estate agents, maybe not seeing a tenant, but actually just help getting someone to do it for them. Is that an opportunity, do you think, for people to do that instead of just trying to do things themselves?
100%.
Right.
100%. Again, with that little course that I've written, one of it is don't take advice from unproductive people. Okay?
Yeah.
Because they'll always be able to tell you how to do it properly, but they're not doing anything themselves.
Yeah, of course.
Okay?
Yeah.
So you do want to get with people who are, trailblazing.
Yeah.
But like Henry Ford, he was a very clever man because he said, "I'm going to get the people who know a lot more than me, and I'm going to make it work."
Yeah.
So there is opportunity. If you take options as one strategy,
Yeah.
which I teach and I use. With an option agreement, you got to be able to connect and build trust and really at every level, an emotional level, an intellectual and an analytical level. Now, if you're not that type of person who can sit and chat and have a bit of a laugh and build that rapport, then don't flog a dead horse.
Yeah.
Get someone else, partner up with someone who has that, who's going to do it in a fraction of the time and succeed a lot more than you trying to go and get no. Because the amount of people that go onto courses, try to do things which they're not actually they don't have that structure or character.
Or even
to do it.
DNA. You know,
Absolutely.
fundamentally not even
exactly,
there. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's about partnering up with the right person.
Yeah, it's. I think that's true of many things. Is when I started studying property, I was quite nervous speaking to estate agents, and you know, I did public speaking, even in my corporate days.
Yeah.
I was able to get up, but having a conversation with an estate agent frightened me to death because it's about investments. And in the end, we decided to team up with someone in Nottingham who's a good friend that still does a lot of investing, and he was able to speak eloquently to an estate agent. Yeah. And on my own, I think I lost deals because I was, like you say, shaking and lacking confidence, and he was able to portray a professional image, confident, gives assurances to that estate agent. And I do think that's where you've really got to team up with other people. But I think sometimes as well is maybe not investing in property directly, but maybe working with someone like yourself to say, actually, I've been doing it for decades on end. Don't you make the mistakes of trying to learn this stuff. Now you're aware of investing in property and there's things that you should do. I'm a firm believer of actually just teaming up with someone else and saying,
absolutely,
give you the money, whatever structure it is, but you know, you do the job.
No, precisely, and that's what I do. Is I look for investors. Well, actually, they seem to be drawn towards me and say, look, I've got a chunk of money. Can I invest with you? Now, two types of investors. One, they don't want to know how to do it. Yep. They just say, listen, just go and multiply that for me. Thank you very much. And another one, can I sit on your shoulder and see how the process works?
Sure.
And that's fine. That might be for one or two deals, and then they've got it and away they go.
Yeah.
So it's a really nice way to do it. It actually mitigates risk. Yes, they share some of the profit, but the truth is they're going to make a lot more profit because they're doing it with someone who knows what they're doing, as opposed to making the mistakes. And you know, I've made mistakes, and unfortunately I've learned from those mistakes. But the beauty is I have mentored well over 400 property investors. There's not a lot I haven't seen.
No, I think that there's something I always think about is, do I want 50% of a business that's doing £100,000 or do I want 100% of something that's doing £10,000? You know, it's an easy answer really, but people sometimes don't see that. They kind of see them, you know. I think the thing that I see from property investors especially, not corporate world, because in corporate world, you know, you've got departments. And in those departments, you've got skill sets. You've got people who know what they're doing in those departments. When you're in business on your own, it's quite isolating. And what you see of yourself is, I have to do everything. But you've got to get out of that mentality and say, what am I good at? And don't kick yourself for the weaknesses, because that's something else I do see. But and be aware again, understand what your weaknesses are, and team up with people like yourself, or even from a tax side of things as. But you know, we talk about property investing here. Making sure that you team up with the right people where you've got gaps.
Absolutely, and I team up. So look, I don't want to project manage. I've just done 3 buy, refurbish and refinance, and I actually went back in to look at that and to run them because it was a bit of fun. I had a bit of time, and I did it, and it was great just to go back in it. But I don't do it. Okay? But I like to do it, and you know, using spreadsheets and things, and it was fun, and just build strong relationships with some of the guys that are doing the work, which I don't really see.
Which is good.
Which is excellent. Okay, and you know, the best top tip is pay them immediately. You inspect it, and I pay them on the phone there and then. They love you. They absolutely love you. Okay, but you know, what I do, like I said, I don't project manage, but I make sure that I work with teams who are absolutely at the top of their game. They're not the cheapest by any means, but they deliver and they have a standard. And so that's come about by me working with them over years, by me paying them, they respect me. So when I was broken into, I had them, you know, 3 of them came down and said, Trevor, what can we do? One of them came down, fixed the doors. I said, look, and it was a mess. And I said, look, what do you want? He says, a tenner tray, just my fuel.
Wow.
Honestly. So, you know, they come down.
You got that relationship going.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what you're buying into. That's what you don't know when you're going into a joint venture. It's not, I'm putting my money with this person. It's, you're going into something so much more with more
trust.
So absolutely.
Trust. You mentioned, funny enough, all the way through this whole conversation we've been having today, it's about paying for quality.
Yes.
You know, you could easily go and say, well, I can do things for myself for free, get something done by a cheap person down the road, or do I want to pay for quality, which is sometimes, back to the old adage again, I keep repeating the same old thing. Yeah. Do you worry about the price of something, a service or a product, or do you worry about the cost of getting it wrong? guys, well, it's a simple answer, but there's so many people just fall into the trap going, it's cheap, I'm going to go for that. And I won't mention the organisation, but they preach this all the time. Don't go for these gurus, don't go for this high quality priced item or service. Just do it yourself, do it cheap. Just use our forum to get the expertise. But actually, it's quite dangerous.
Do you know something? I keep, as I get older, I hear the words of my parents coming out of my mouth. There's so many things. But my dad said, son, pay cheap, pay twice.
Yeah, so true, so true. Listen, let's wrap this up for today.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
For someone who's getting into property for the first time, with the trend of things like eco living, we haven't even talked about that, but
no.
You've got service accommodation, you've got single lets. Where does someone start in property? What do you think they should be looking at?
Well, it all depends what their cash pot is.
Okay.
All right, but even that you're going to run out. But so you'll have to build your network of things. But so look, I see lots of different people. People go on to do the rent to rent thing because they're jumping on that bandwagon. That's good. It gives quick cash flow. And so if you're going to do it properly. Go to someone who teaches you to do the right way. So make sure you're getting the mortgage consent.
Yes.
Making sure that the insurance is the proper coverage. Making sure you're getting the freeholder's permission in that apartment block.
Yeah.
So there are three things straight away. So whether that's rent to rent or anything. If you're going to buy a property to rent out, then look, where is the added value? So if you can't afford to do it now, could I turn it into flats later? Could I build out the back? Could I build in the garden? Think about future pacing.
Yeah.
And everything, try to buy cheap. So negotiate, know your numbers before you go in. So many people miss that when they start. Yeah. You must know your numbers, no emotion when you buy. Only business. So buy cheap, add value, refinance.
How many people do you think on that point of when they're doing their due diligence would change the numbers on the spreadsheet because they go, I really want this deal to land because it's my first one. I'll tweet down how much it's going to cost, and then when they get it, the reality kicks in, and then they leave property investing. And
absolutely. Well, look, there was a guy I was with yesterday, and a lovely man, and I was really shocked when he told me what he was doing because he did some high-end stuff. He turned over 3 million last year, and he was saying that he struggled over this last few months to find anything to buy, so he hasn't really got in.
Okay.
So he said, I've got loads of stuff in my saved folder because he's very busy in his own work. So I went on to his place. Straight away, I found a deal and said, look, I phoned up the agent. You can actually build 8 flats there. The council support it.
Wow.
And it was a goer. And I said, you've got to get space.
Yeah.
But it's about, his thing is about time management because he's finding it, but he's not going.
Yeah.
And so that's about taking the advantage. So, the mind is willing, but the body's got to go and pay the piper.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. There's no shortcut. You got to pay the piper. You got to do the legwork. You got to do the due diligence.
Listen, hopefully you guys found this really interesting. I know I have, in just getting someone else's viewpoints, and just to kind of correct you where you're getting it wrong. But Trevor, thank you ever so much.
Thank you, Simon. It's been brilliant. Superb.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much again for watching this video. I hope you got a lot of information and it's helped you on your journey. If you have liked it, please like, subscribe and share to help other people. I wish you all the best. Thank you. Bye-bye.